We are EARJ from Rio de Janeiro. This is a Seed for Success, the EARJ Garden Project. I'm Sebastian Vicens. This is Valentina, Sebastian Guido Polinsky, Jose Bernardes, Vincenzo Fioco, and Paul Samosa. We hope you enjoy. So global issues. The global issues that we're going to be treating in our presentation are, basically we identified them through this thesis. Go. Seed for Success thesis. We believe it is our duty to create a change in the EARJ community that will indeed spark amelioration in the following 4 areas.
The first of those areas being biodiversity and ecosystem loss. We're fortunate enough to have our campus located right on an actual rainforest. Much of that's already been destroyed by the favela across the street and partially by our school. It's actually a big problem because our school is continuing to expand, and as it expands, there has to be more deforestation around our school. There's numerous wildlife species all over our campus, from snakes to monkeys to different types of spiders. And the continued deforestation could cause a massive shock to those ecosystems. Here's a little video explaining biodiversity better.
Biodiversity represents everything that lives on Earth. It is the fruit of billions of years of evolution, shaped by natural processes and increasingly by the influence of humans. So far, about 1.75 million species have been identified, but scientists believe there could be 13 million species living on our planet. Biodiversity is life. It heals us, as more than 70,000 plant and tree species on Earth are used in medicine. It gives us shelter. Without wood, we couldn't build houses, furniture, or tools. Biodiversity feeds us and clothes us. The consumption patterns of people in rich countries are the principal cause of biodiversity loss. The rapid loss of the Earth's species is estimated to be between 1,000 and 10,000 times higher than the natural extinction rate. Today, our planet hosts 7 billion people. We need to preserve biodiversity so that it can meet the needs of 9 billion of us in 2050. The UN Convention on Biological Diversity aims to provide a framework.
Thank you. Okay.
So that was just a little bit explaining biodiversity and what exactly it is. Another issue that we think our project can address will be education for all. We believe that in our school there's a lack of exposure to hands-on learning, and there's a lot of in-the-classroom activities and a lot of paperwork, a lot of lectures, and we really think there's a lack of hands-on learning, and we think with this garden, this aspect can be solved. There's also the repetitive environment for learning. Every day you go to the same classes, you go through the same curriculum every single day. We believe that through this garden, students can take some time off between the regular classes or whenever they have free time, and have a better environment for learning, something that's not so repetitive. Also, in our school, in our very privileged school, there's almost a reliance on technology, and it really impedes sometimes the education of the students, where every day you have to rely on your computers, your tablets and everything, and we believe that we need to address this issue using our garden. Another thing to add, these are just issues for our very privileged school that is across from the biggest favela in Brazil, called Rocinha, where there are several underprivileged kids who don't have the same education as us, and we also believe our garden can solve this issue.
Going on to the third problem, which is poverty. At our school, and probably a lot of other schools and other communities, we face this problem, which is food waste. People are putting more food than they will actually eat in their plates. And as Paul said, we live right next to, we don't live, we study right next to the Rocinha. You can see a picture of Rocinha there. And as a result, this reality of people needing more, that they don't actually have it, it's right in front of us. It's right across of us.
Okay, so guys, health is another very pertinent issue in our society nowadays. Because people, especially children, they don't know what they're eating. They don't know what pesticides are. They don't know if they're eating food that have ingredients such as pesticides and hormones. They don't know anything. They're not aware. They're not conscious. And also, every time someone says, eat organic, eat healthy, eat vegetables, eats tomatoes. They always relate that to a negative, they always think of that as a negative connotation. Like, ew, tomatoes, vegetables, oh no. So this is a perfect video that explains this by Jamie Oliver. So let's take a look.
And now, a brand new sneak peek from Jamie Oliver's Food Revolution.
Hello. Hello, miss. There's loads to fix. The younger kids are really struggling, so I wanted to see if the kids even knew what fresh food looks like. Are you ready for my class?
We are ready. Welcome.
Thank you very much for that. How old are you guys? 6. Wow. I love working with kids. Elementary school is where it's at. You know, this is where you mould kids. We're going to do a little test. Right. Who knows what this is?
Potatoes.
Potato? So you think these are potatoes? Not potatoes, though.
Oh, no.
Do you know what this is? No? Who knows what tomato ketchup is? Yeah, that's what it's made out of.
Oh, tomato ketchup? I know that.
Do you know what that is? Do you know what that is?
Broccoli.
What about this? A good old friend. Do you know what this is, honey?
Celery.
No. What do you think it is, darling?
Onion.
Onion, no. Immediately you get a really clear sense of, do the kids know anything about where food comes from? Who knows what that is?
Pear.
A pear, no.
A turnip.
No? Okay, I'm going to give you the first word. Egg.
Egg. Egg salad.
The answer today was no.
Jamie Oliver's Food Revolution. Series premiere Friday, March 26, 9/8 Central on ABC.
So these are the solutions that we think our project will address to the issues that we just mentioned.
In relation to biodiversity and ecosystem depletion, as I mentioned before, there is continued deforestation around our campus. And introducing a more hands-on approach to the environment through our garden is going to allow us to expand our garden further to the areas immediately adjacent to our school. This will promote more environmentally friendly type of activities and will detract from the problems that our environment causes. These are just some pictures of our garden before we planted, and this is what it's currently looking like now.
So the solution for poverty that we're working on it, and in the near future we'll also work on them. First of all, herb selling. Last week we had our Halloween event at school, and as Eco Club members and gym members, we started selling herbs. Although we made low profit, 70 heads is not that much. It's still a step into a positive future. Can you go back, please? Alright, further on, our second solution would be to produce donations. So it will get to a point that our garden will be big enough that we can harvest these plants, herbs, vegetables, and we can donate them to people, and once we harvest them, we can also retrieve their seeds to expand our garden or give it to a certain community or family in need.
So, education for all. We believe that education for all, the main group of people we need to target with this is the youth. I don't know if you guys were paying attention yesterday, I know a lot of people were sleeping, but one of the keynote speakers mentioned a quote from Frederick Douglass that it's easier to inspire younger children than to fix a broken man. That's exactly what we believe here in EARJ. We want to incorporate the garden in some ways, or we want to encourage teachers to incorporate the garden into their curriculum. So science classes, for example, they can explain how photosynthesis works, how exactly how did nature come about, and using the garden, and it's a fun activity for kids, and I think they'll really like it. As well as, the higher level classes in biology in high school, they can also learn from that. The language arts, the garden it's sort of set aside from the rest of the school. It's a very peaceful area, and it could be a place for inspirational writing for younger kids or older kids. And it's also a quiet place for people to read and just enjoy their time when they have a break or during class. And for math, it's always easy to incorporate simple math problems. You know, what's the area of this bed? How many plants? Addition, subtraction. And using the garden, they'll be learning two things: math and a little bit about plants and other produce. And not only incorporating it into the current courses in the school, we believe it'll have a new learning opportunity, this garden. The school does not currently include gardening. I don't know if many schools do, but our school doesn't. And we believe that gardening and plant care, to a certain extent, can be very easy to learn. And it's a useful skill that people can carry on with them, and they can teach other people as well. And importantly, we want to inspire the future. We want to get the kids involved in the garden. And we believe that with this road that we pave for these children, they can follow the same footsteps that we stepped in and, you know, continue on that road. And yeah, entrepreneurship value in adults that these children will learn from watching us and from learning by us acting. If you go back a little bit, there's a picture actually. One more. So not long after we started the project, we got a actual letter, handwritten letter from a group of third grade kids in the lower school, which is very close to this garden. And they basically asked, they thought it was really interesting, they saw us working at the garden often, and they thought it was really interesting, and they themselves, without the help of a teacher, they handwrote everything. It must have been one kid, but he got several people to sign it, and we eventually decided as a group that we should reserve 2 of the beds of the garden for this group of third graders. So we believe, as what we want to do with this garden, is inspire the youth, and we inspired them within the first 3 weeks. They already have their own spots, and they'll be the future Jinners. They'll be in the same position that we are in a few years to come.
Okay, so now health, guys. I just want to be realistic here. I just want to ask you guys a question. Have you ever prepared a meal in which you know where each step of the food, the processing, where it came from, in which you prepared every step of the food? And like, for example, get the tomatoes, get the potatoes, cook everything. Have you ever done that? Do you know exactly where your food comes from?
Any hands?
Any hands? No, exactly. So that proves a point. We have to start educating our kids, and they need to know. They need to be more aware. With this garden, they will have more knowledge about the origins of food. Not only that, but this garden is homegrown and organic, so they can connect with the land, with the earth, and they can see that it has no pesticides, no hormones, nothing that is bad for you, nothing that is bad for your health. Last but not least, children, they are in touch with food, and that generates less pickiness. They won't be like, oh, vegetables, tomatoes, nothing of that anymore, because they will get accustomed to the garden. Also, did you know that organic food, it has more enzymes which digest your food better, and which is much more nutritious for you in the end than food that is
Processed.
Yeah, processed. It has hormones and pesticides. So in all, it will really help the health of all our children in the school, of everyone. So it is a really good idea to do this garden.
I think in exact numbers, the organic food has, or on average, has about 60 enzymes compared to the processed food, and the genetically altered that has around 4 or not even double digits. So it's a big difference.
All right. So when we came here last year, our project was on vermicompost, which is composting with worms, where they eat organic waste and produce compost, which you can use for a garden. We had we have 3 worm bins where we have the worms, and we gave them the organic waste from our cafeteria, and we let them compost it. But back then we didn't have a garden yet. We didn't plan as far. We didn't have as much time. Sadly, over the winter break, worms passed away.
I can never forget. I'd like a moment of silence, please.
Moment of silence.
Respect.
Is
Thank you.
We have the worms again now, so we get started.
As of Tuesday, we have new worms.
Yeah. Hope they're still alive.
So as soon as we got back this year in August, we started planning our garden to get everything done really fast. We talked to the PTA about our plans to get their approval, and they approved really fast. They started getting things going within a month, within weeks. We talked to gardeners and the maintenance at our school to see where they would recommend to have a garden with respect to soil and sun and location, basically. And they gave us some ideas, and also we talked to the administration, and they got it approved pretty fast. So the actual garden area, we had, at first we only had one option, but it was way too industrial. There's lead-based paint, which is poisonous to everything, pretty much. It was basically drop-off area for cement, for sand, for dirt and soil. Huh? So after we decided to leave that space be, and we found a new and improved space, which is, like he said, kind of secluded from the rest of the school. There were already beds there, which means there was already a garden there many years ago. But it was all overgrown with grass, with weeds, so we had to come in one day and just take it all out. We also got expert help from Miss Hurd, who's the parent of someone in our school, and she has over 30 years of experience with gardening, organic gardening. So she taught us how to garden, what seeds we should choose. All right. Okay, go back. Thanks. So one of the ways we plan to continue the garden along with the vermicompost is the 3-bin system, which is we take there's 3 bins standing right next to each other. We take organic waste, put it in the first, and then we fill it up until it's full all the way to the top. We move it to the second bin and fill organic waste into the first till it's up to the top. Move it along one more time, and same process again. And the entire process takes about 3 months from beginning to end, and then at the end you can take the compost and put it into the garden for maximum profit.
Okay, EARJ garden project. This is the actual logistics of our garden, how it's functioning and what we've done to make it function this way. So here we made a little garden cycle for you guys to simplify it. Step 1, I think Vin mentioned it, Polinsky mentioned it, somebody did. Weeding. We had to go into the garden. It was a really rough area. Some of the beds were kind of falling over. And we had to go in, take out all these plants that could harm our crops, and basically make sure that it was suitable to hold our garden. Step 2, after this weeding, we have the preparation of soil and using the compost. We had to turn the soil so that the roots can grow easier, so it's loosened up, because the soil had been packed down to me. I don't think they touched it for about 10 years, something like that. And basically for water to seep down through it, oxygenation, and for this root facilitation. Next. Now step 3, the planting, which was actually really fun. We all went up with Miss Leslie Hurd, the expert, and she got some seeds for us. We had some corn, pumpkins, sunflowers, some really cool plants. And what we did, we just lined them up in rows according to what they were, kind of mixed and match in different bins, in order to make it aesthetically appealing once they grow. So it's nice. It's going to be a nice place to be. Step 4, care for the gardening. A garden is it's full of life. It's a high maintenance job. And what we did, even before, we had a garden committee in our eco club, and this garden committee is 100% dedicated to the care of this garden and to make it sustainable. That was a term. Permaculture. Go back. Permaculture is a term that is used to define basically an ecosystem in which humans and plants or crops can live in symbiosis. They can continue existing coexisting. And the point of this is that to minimize your effort for the garden and to maximize what you can obtain from the garden. And then we have step 5, which is the selling of these plants and herbs, which you showed a photo before when Paul was speaking. And donating the vegetables to the communities, and eventually the cafeteria, because our garden isn't big enough yet, it's still growing. But this is what we do with our crops. Now, our vision. This is what we want to happen in the future of our garden. Well, we want to make the garden a school-wide project, as in we want to involve different grades. Right now, we've gotten 2 letters? We've gotten 2 letters about the garden, one of which was with the 3rd graders, and we showed a photo. They actually came up and gave them their 2 bins. They gave us a list of their seeds that they wanted to plant. There were some really cool things like lavender. We need to look into that. And what we want to do is basically give a little bin per grade so that each grade can grow their own crops.
Well, secondly, we would like to expand to other areas. We're only in that top corner with about 8 beds. Why not expand it more? We have a lot of land at EARJ and we can use that land.
Yeah, also, we would like to include this program, which is called HAZAN, stands for Rocinha After School Activity. As you know, Rocinha is one of the biggest favelas in Brazil. And basically, what this is that every Tuesday and Thursday, students go to our school and we teach them English. And we inform them about that. So instead of just involving the people from our school, we would like to involve as well these children that are not so fortunate as we are, and we would like to set an example to them. Set an example and to educate them as well about the earth, the land, the foods, the vegetables, and much more.
And the final part of our vision would be to implement some of our garden food into our cafeteria once we are able to expand, and we have the capacity to produce enough food to feed a large majority of our campus. As we mentioned before, it's a lot better knowing that your food is organic and knowing that it has come from a place where it has been taken care of properly before.
Yeah.
Now, quiz time.
Quiz time.
Note that this is when we promised you gummies. If you answer a question, and you get it right, we will throw a gummy at you. Okay?
The questions might be a bit hard. We can help you throughout the process, but if you raise your hand, you have to answer wisely.
If you like.
So.
But guys, feel free to participate. Don't be scared. Don't shout out whatever you think is right. Okay, so the first question is, what are culture and permaculture?
I might be completely wrong, but isn't it an organic compound you use for the beds?
Sorry.
Shut down.
Permaculture is worm farming.
Yes, and permaculture?
Not farming.
Hey, give her one.
Hey, you didn't raise your hand.
Hey.
Hey, wait.
She will throw them at you. We will throw them at you.
She was Googling it.
She got it.
You're
You're Googling it?
Permaculture is using what?
Hey.
Permaculture is using natural environment.
Yeah, you got it.
You get yours. Nice guy.
She's a gardener.
Yeah, you guys cheated.
Development of agriculture ecosystem intended to be sustainable.
That's cheating.
Yeah, you know what? You cheated. You shouldn't even have those gummies.
Alright, let's go to our second
Up
question.
next. How does the 3-bin system work?
So like on the first drawer you have normal soil, and then the soil, like you guys put waste, right?
Yeah.
And then on the second one it's like filtered with worms and stuff, and on the third one you can have water or any other.
Nope.
The result, right?
Water. Nope. Get the idea, but nope. Anybody?
Oh, he
Want
wants
you want it? You want it? Dude, you can just have them all now.
Well, the 3-bin, I think you guys said in your presentation, is when you keep transporting, like after a few weeks you transport it to a new bin, and once it fills up you keep transporting it over and over.
What's your name?
Andrew.
Do you want to present with us?
Like stand up here.
Part of our team.
How many trees does EARJ waste per month? This was one of the first slides.
24.
There we go.
I don't even remember that.
What is Polinsky? This man. What is his middle name? No, his middle name. Wait. If you win, wait up. No, he doesn't have a middle name. If you get it right, you get this, and you get to take him home.
Loud enough for everyone to hear.
Some Argentina steak.
We know. That is
Alright.
Very good.
Do you want another one?
She deserves
Do you want another one?
She deserves
I didn't remember.
Okay, wait up. Wait.
What's his middle name?
Okay, right. We have in honor of our deceased worms. Okay, something to find heavier. So in honor of our deceased worms, we're gonna be playing. No, not this. Wait up. Okay. We're playing some music, and Paul here.
So, who knows how? Who can do the worm? Yo, who can do the worm?
You! Wanna do the worm?
Yeah, if you guys want to.
If you guys want more gummies, you can come try. Just try it. Come on. Dale.
You don't have to do it right. If you come down here and lay down.
Make it better. So come on.
Paul, you go again. Paul.
Okay, guys.
Do it.
Do it for the children.
So,
Mr.
this
Sagar,
was our presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, he's coming.
Have any doubts?
Oh, wait. Hold up.
My phone never works.
Alright, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Alright, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.